Hey everybody, it's Brian with the VIP Soundcheck, and I'm honored to have my friend Jason Benoit. Jason, thank you so much for joining me.
Man, it's great to see you. Great to meet you in person.
Absolutely. Yeah, so we actually did an interview on my old channel about 2 years ago. We were talking about that, and it was a lot of fun. So I'm honored that you agreed to do this.
No, man, thanks for making the long drive up here. This is
absolutely. Yes, I should say we are kind of in between London and... What's the other town that we're near?
We're about 45 minutes west of London.
West of London.
Yeah.
London, Ontario.
London, Ontario, yeah.
And we're here at the Jamboree, the Boot Hill Jamboree.
Yep, that's right.
And you played this a couple of times before.
This is my second time playing.
Okay.
I played here a couple years ago, and then I was basically opening for another artist, but this year I'm actually the headliner. So.
Nice.
Yeah.
So you got about 6 hours to kill before you go.
Yeah. It's like 10. Yeah, it's a little bit of a. I hope we don't drink too much of those beer out there. I'll tell you. So.
Well, the nice thing is it's been raining all day, but it looks like it might be starting to let up. So.
Yeah, I hope so. I think it's supposed to. So. Fingers crossed.
Absolutely. Now we were talking a little before we came on. You've been doing a few shows this summer, kind of all around.
It's been a great summer. Yeah.
So where all have you played?
I played, there's a big festival over in Cavendish Beach, Prince Edward Island, which is east of here, on the east coast of Canada.
Okay.
And that's a big one. They had Tyler Childers and
nice.
They had a great lineup this year. Brothers Osborne. So
nice.
I played over there. I was there for 3 days, and I did the Songwriter Circle, and I've got my own radio show, so I was doing some interviewing with some artists, so that was phenomenal. And in between that and here, I've done. I was in New Brunswick for another, and got this one now. Tomorrow, we're gonna be flying back to Halifax, and then driving up to New Brunswick for another show up there. So
nice.
Yeah, it's been a great summer so far.
Very cool.
Yeah.
And you mentioned the new radio that I was going to ask you about the radio show that you have.
Yeah.
What made you want to start that?
Well, they reached out to me. It's a local station. It's about an hour and a half from where I live. It's a community radio station, but they said, we've got a spot on Saturday night of an hour show, and just wondering if I'd be interested in, doing my own thing, whatever I wanted, so producing my own show basically, and that's
nice.
And that's what I did. Yeah. So they reached out. This was probably last September, and I've been loving it. So I get to feature some great new artists. I'm a fan. I love country music, and I love the industry, and I love the people in the industry, and to be able to feature the artists that I love and to play the music that I love, it's awesome. I love it. It's so much fun. Yeah,
it's a great feeling hearing their story.
It is. It's pre-recorded too, so it's not like I do have to do it live at the station. I do it wherever I'm at, so I can travel and do it from a hotel room if I have to. So
nice.
It's great. I'm having a lot of fun with it. Yeah.
You can fix mix-up. That's what I do.
Yeah, that's right. Exactly. Yeah,
very cool.
Lots of great editing. Yeah.
Now, and we had talked about before. You came from a very small town in Newfoundland. That's where you grew up, correct? And so, did you ever imagine? I mean, I know that you've been in music your whole life. Did you imagine that you would be a headliner at these shows?
Man. It was always a dream. I mean,
sure.
It's phenomenal, and I mean, I've been so blessed in my career to have the opportunities that I've had, and I still live in a town of 200 people on the coast of Newfoundland.
Okay.
So I mean, for a guy like me to be able to headline a show in Ontario, and it's phenomenal, man. I'm so blessed, and I love what I do, and I never take it for granted.
Sure.
Yeah.
Now, when did it dawn on you that, like, man, I'm a country star?
Well, I would.
Was it when long time coming? Was that when that song came out?
Yeah,
that was when you were your first top 10.
Well,
right?
I mean, yeah. If you can, it depends. There's different ways to quantify success, and one of them is radio success. And I was lucky enough to have a few top 30s in Canada and a top 10, which was Gone Long Gone, which went to number 7.
Waiting for that cell to go off to tell me you're coming back. I don't wanna hear about your problems. Got my own now, can't solve. Heard it all before. My love is just for the fortunate few. 'Cause I had everything and now it's gone, long gone.
And ever since I've been releasing music and doing my thing, and right now I'm releasing and producing a lot of my own music, which for me personally is a huge success for me because it's very satisfying, and
Sure.
and I get to produce and release my own stuff that I'm working on, and as a creative person, that for me is incredibly gratifying. So
Nice.
So there's a lot of different levels and different aspects of the industry that you can be successful in, and I feel like I'm very happy with where I am, and of course I'd always love to break in the U.S. and
We'll get you there.
and play the Grand Ole Opry and all that stuff. But I mean, I'm having a great time trying to get there for sure.
Sure, absolutely, and it's just a matter of time. It's a matter. We'll get people. Once they hear you, they're gonna love it. That's the thing.
Well, that's the thing, is getting people to hear you, and that's where you come in. Thanks, man. Thanks so much for the support. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Yeah. And that was one of the things I wanted to ask you about. You said that you've got your own label, you do things, but you were with Sony for a while.
That's right. Yeah. Well, it was an imprint label under Sony Music Canada.
Okay.
And so it was basically Sony did the radio and the marketing, and then they had a label that did everything else. So that was the first batch of songs that I released that was under them, and then I've had a couple of different labels since then, and now since 2019 when things started to go south around the world with the pandemic, decided to do something a bit different. I had a bunch of songs that I had already written with my good buddy Jerry from PEI, Prince Edward Island, and we were like, well, let's just do it ourselves. I mean, like, it's chasing. You're always chasing a label, right? As an artist,
Yeah.
you always dream about the big, getting signed and stuff. But I've been in the industry a long time, and I had a lot of experience in the industry, and I kind of knew the ins and outs. So I'm like, let's just go for it. And I was very lucky that album achieved 5 million streams, and I won the East Coast Music Award for Country Recording of the Year for that album. So I mean, if you don't really know if you don't try. So,
Exactly.
And I think today, more so than ever, we're at a point where a lot of artists can do that.
Yeah.
You can release your own music now, and there's a ton of them out there right now. For example, like Zach Bryan, like he blew up.
Yep.
But like he was releasing his own music and doing his own thing, and it just happened organically, right?
Yeah.
So it's a totally different world now, and just with social media and the way it's set up. So yeah, it's anybody can do it these days,
Well, I'm gonna take a couple of days and this summer started hot as hell. It didn't take too long, 'cause there's a cold day coming when I won't be around. Pack it up, baby. Oh, there's a cold day coming. I won't be loving you. I won't be holding you tight. It's Saturday night when the sun's going down. Yeah.
Now, have you thought about, like, you're talking about, you talk to some of the up-and-coming artists. Have you thought about bringing some of them onto your label, giving them some help that way?
Well,
or?
I mean, I'm trying to get there. I'm hopefully going to get there eventually. But that's definitely something that I'd like to do in the future. Is if I hear somebody and I think that it should be heard, to get them try to help them get some of their music out there, right? So
That's awesome.
That'd be amazing. I'd love to do something like that.
Nice.
I just love music, man. It's cool to do anything in the industry. The music has done so much for me personally ever since I was a kid. Like it's always so great to get back, and
Sure.
it feels good. It's cool to see other people succeed too. I love
Absolutely.
If I think they're if I think they're awesome, then I'm like, I do anything I could to help them now, or even when I'm at the point where I can sign artists. So yeah,
it is rewarding when you find somebody and you're like, man, this is.
It is. It
This
feels
person's
great,
got
man.
star written all over them.
It's just because it's a hard industry. Like again, coming in the Canadian industry for the last 10 years, like it's a grind, and there's gatekeepers, and there's just different ways there's so many ways that they can be held down in the industry and not get ahead. And there's so many artists that I've heard that are phenomenal and just can't get that foot in the door. And then what happens is they end up losing momentum or courage, and they don't end up, they just stop trying, or they figure that's it, it's not going to work. But this industry is all about persistence and just keeping and just releasing music you love. I mean, if you could do that, then you'll always be happy anyway. But if you keep doing that, and then hopefully Even if it's acoustically, even if it's online, if you're writing songs, or if you don't write songs, find somebody who does write songs and work with them. Like, there's just so many ways you can do it, but it's just not a lot. Sometimes artists don't know all the ways to do it, right? You just think there's, you want to blow up overnight, and it's a lot of work, man. It's a lot of work to pursue this as a career.
Sure.
Because there's a ton of artists that I know who actually still work a day job, and they're doing it, and a lot of people aren't willing to do that. If they just think it's either one or the other. But like, there's just there's a lot of things you got to do, a lot of sacrifices you got to make, and you just got to make it work. If it's your passion, just go for it.
Exactly. Right? And that's one of the things that I've learned talking to you, other artists. I mean, you really have to have a passion for the music.
You do.
You can't get into this thinking I want money.
Yeah.
If it happens, great. But it's going to take a while. It's going to take a lot of hard work.
I'm not going to lie. That's how I started. It's true, but I quickly learned, because I was looking back now, how inexperienced I was and naive, just going into the industry. Again, coming from a town of 200 people on the coast of Newfoundland, but just not knowing what it was all about, the reality of the industry, and I mean, you go into hoping that you're going to be able to do it full time, and sometimes, man, it's not easy. I've been very lucky myself to be able to do this full time for the last 10 years. But what was I saying? What was I talking about? I totally lost my frame of mind. It's the heat
and the sweat that's getting through it.
It's humid as hell in here. Yeah.
Thankfully, that's not like 4K. You'd be seeing the sweat.
Yeah, right. Yeah, for sure.
No, we were talking about the passion for it, and not just for the money.
Exactly, not just for the money. Anyway, yeah, exactly. So now, and again, now looking at what I'm doing now since 2019 with producing and releasing my own music, like, this is what in my heart of hearts, is what I've always wanted to do, right?
Sure.
So, and if you're lucky, you can do both.
Yeah.
You can release and do what you love, the kind of music you love, and it connects on a level that you can be successful on the radio,
you can make a living on it,
or make a living at it, right? So, yeah, it's. I mean, I'm getting older, man. I'm just learning as I go here.
Nice. Now, I want to talk about some of the new song. Since you released your latest EP, I know one of the songs that I heard, and you said it came out earlier this year, was 25 to Life.
That's right, yeah.
And I really liked it. It was different for you.
Yeah,
and
for sure.
it had a different sound, but I love the emotion that you put into it. It was kind of one of those, you're like, damn, that one hit me.
Cool.
So where did that song idea come from for you?
Well, that was a song that I had written probably when I was 17, and I reworked it. The arrangement was like a lot different than what it is now. It was a lot more Johnny Cash kind of style.
Yeah.
But I loved the lyrics, and I didn't think that I would ever release a song as it was written back when I was 17. But at the time, I was writing the Deadwood, my new the EP that came out this year. And I was focusing a little more on the folk Americana kind of a sound, because for one thing, it was starting to take off at radio and in the world.
Yeah.
And I grew up with that sound, because I'm from the East Coast of Canada. So that music, I grew up listening to that style of music, folk and Americana and all that style. So I felt like it was an opportunity for me to approach, writing and producing in a style that I grew up with, and probably show a little bit more of myself as an artist and my inspirations and the kind of music that I listened to growing up. So that's basically how the whole sound of that album came about, and especially the 25 to Life.
I got arrested up in Denver, stuck him with a switchblade knife, so they shaved my... Oh, what have I done? It's true, it's true, the hell was I supposed to do? Saw him beating on his... To think about the life that he will never know, or he will never know. Well, I quit the drinking, dropped the knife, just please don't tell me 25, got 25.
Nice.
Yeah, it's just so it's that one's got a long story to it, in regards to where it came, where I wrote it back when I was 17 to where it is today, and with all the influence that came through it. It was so kind of, I think it, over time, as an artist, when you have time, Ashley, and when you have the opportunity to produce your own stuff and to experiment like I do, which is great, it's awesome to be able to dive into side of yourself as an artist, and it kind of rounds you out as an artist.
Sure.
And it kind of shows me where I want to go myself as an artist in the future, right? So. That was a lot of fun doing that album, and I did it with a bunch of guys from back home, actually from the area where I grew up with. So it's very genuine in the sound, because it's it's like these guys that's the kind of music they grew up playing.
So it's like really you.
Yeah, well, very very much so. Yeah, very as an East Coast artist, yeah, for sure. Like who grew up right next to the ocean in Newfoundland. Yeah, definitely.
Nice.
Yeah.
It's interesting that you mentioned Johnny Cash, because when I was listening to it, it hit me. I was like, it reminded me if you mix Johnny Cash and like Skid Row's 18 in Life.
Yeah.
That was kind of the feel that it had. So when you said Johnny Cash, I'm like, that's what I was kind of picking over.
Well, there you go. Yeah. It's pretty close. Yeah.
And I remember we had talked before that you like being able to mix it up a little bit, get some rock elements in at times, and kind of show off that side of you as well. Is there any new songs? I know that when we were walking over here, you mentioned that you're working on some new stuff. Are you going to mix that up a little bit again? Or?
Yeah, I've partnered with a buddy of mine who I've been working with for a long time. His name is John Hines. He's actually from Ontario, but he's been doing demos for me for years and years, and we work together really well. And so we're actually moving forward, we're going to be releasing a lot of music together. He's producing. I'll be co-producing it, but he's doing the majority of the music side of it, and I'm just on the creative mainly, and so we're planning on releasing, and because there's so many songs that I've got written over in the past, and actually a lot of demos that we've done that I thought I was going to cut and never did cut before. So I've got so much music to release, and that's going to be coming up. It's going to be great. It's going to be a lot. I think it's going to be it's going to be probably a mix of more modern pop country sound with, and then there's also like probably going to be some songs that I release in there that are going to be a little more traditional country sound. And it's going to be a mix of everything. And I'm not. Nice. And the plan is to release like songs consecutively instead of releasing an album.
So singles as you come.
They would basically be like, but close together. So I'd release one a month for a year or something like that. So I've got a lot of music. I got a lot more music to come. So
very cool.
You take all the darts in your hand, you throw them at the wall, and one of them will stick.
Then you come back to it later. So let's try that again.
Yeah, but no, it's definitely cool because again, having the last, say, 4 years since I released the Time Traveler, I started working on the Time Traveler album. I got to really delve into that traditional country, folk, Americana with the Deadwood album, and then now I feel like I've said a lot that I wanted to say with that.
Yeah.
And I'm really happy with all that. And then now I'm just going to be back trying to release a little more pop country sound and mix of all of it, really. It's just,
very cool.
But yeah, it's just just gonna have some fun with it. Then that's what we're doing. And that's the good thing about being able to release your own stuff is and work on your own stuff is that like it's up to you, whatever you want to release. It's so much more creative and it's just fulfilling for me. So yeah, we're having a ball doing that now. So
nice.
Expect the first single to come out in September, I think, and then we're gonna move forward from there and just keep releasing music.
Very cool. So we'll be sure to let you guys know when new stuff's come out. No doubt it's going to be great. Wow. One of the other things I want to ask you, and we talked about it at our first interview, I love good collaborations. And you did that one where it was Slow Hand.
Yeah.
And are you thinking of having anything else coming out? You did with Leah Daniels.
Yeah.
And you thinking of any other collaborations?
Yeah. As the midnight moon is drifting through the list, darling, don't say a word. I've already heard what you bought. You want a man with a slow hand.
You want a lover, the moon shadow ground with no one around,
And a blanket of stuff.
if you want all night, you know it's alright.
Yeah, we're looking at there's a few songs in there that would be good as duets, and we're talking to some different people now, and I can't say any names right now just because there's nothing written in stone.
Sure.
But yeah, definitely going to be some duets coming up. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very cool.
It's fun. It's a lot of fun. Yeah.
Now, one last thing I want to ask before we end, and you kind of mentioned it a few times. You talked about, trying to get into the U.S. market. And you talked about different gatekeepers. What do you think is the struggle for Canadian artists, not just country, but I see it in rock as well, to try to get a foothold in the U.S.?
I think it's just to get in the U.S. as a country artist. I know they really like it when you live in Nashville, and understandably. And I've been told that by labels, so I know that.
But Nashville's expensive.
Well, and for me it was I tried to do my best to spend as much time as I could down there, but I've got a wife and 3 kids, and it's either you're going to move there or you're not, and I spent time down there. My wife and I I'd be a lot happier, and they would be a lot happier if they were close to their family and in their school and with their friends that they know, and so it's like I could do whatever I want to and do it and fly and go wherever I need to and do what I can, and that's what I'm happy to settle for. Like it's it's been successful. I can't lie. I mean, Canada, it's been great to me, and for if I end up breaking into the U.S., that's amazing. But if not, then I'm more than happy with the career that I've had in Canada so far. It's been amazing.
Awesome. And is there any kind of advice that you'd give to somebody who's younger or just starting out as an artist?
If you want to be really, I think if you really want to be unique, just do your own thing, and it's always cool to use other artists as inspiration towards this kind of music you release, but it's always good to have your own sound, and nobody wants an exact copy of anybody else, so don't worry about copying other people. Just be yourself and try to create the music that resonates with you the most. You can feel it in your heart, and if you can feel it, and then hopefully somebody else will feel it too, and then that's it. You just start releasing music online, and go that route. TikTok is massive now, so
all you need is like 30 seconds.
If you're young and you're artistic, and I mean, TikTok is the place to be.
Sure.
There's just so much reach now, and you can blow up overnight. It's pretty amazing. Yeah.
Nice. Very cool. Before we go, we ended our last conversation and you were telling me about some real Canadian beers. So now that I'm here, what is something that I got to go check out?
Beers?
Yeah.
Oh man, I didn't know all of them. Yeah,
because I said like Labatt's, you were like, no, that's not the real Canadian.
There's so many. Oh my! I think I'm going to give you the same answer I gave you last time. I drink whiskey.
Okay. So good Canadian whiskey then.
I love Wiser's. Wiser's is my favorite.
Okay.
That's my favorite whiskey of all, and that's I drink that one. That's a Canadian whiskey.
I'll have to check that out.
You haven't tried it?
No.
Oh, it's amazing. Just on ice, man.
There you go.
Or neat, whichever way you like it. It's delicious.
Absolutely.
I love that.
Well, Jason, thank you again. It's an awesome blessing to finally meet you. Is there anything else you'd like to say to fans before we sign off?
Oh, wow. I don't know. Just check out my website, jasonbenoitmusic.com, and maybe there's something on there that you like to see, that you see and you like it. Just give it a share. Hopefully, it's you guys that really drive artists like me is success. So yeah, give my music a listen, and I hope you like it.
Absolutely. And I'll put all his links down below so it's easy for you guys to find. You're going to love his music. There's something for everybody. Like I said, you touch on different topics, different styles of country. You guys are absolutely going to love it. So,
thanks,
Jason, thank you again so much.
Oh, of course, man. Thank you.
Awesome to see you.
It's great to see you too.
And as always, I want to thank you guys for spending this time with us. I love you all. God bless, and rock on.